Hello, my name is Artemis. Welcome back to my channel. So in 2024, I didn't get a ton of sewing or cosplay projects done. I had a couple things that I had started towards the end of the year, but just ran out of time or motivation to complete them. So this year I ended up traveling a lot more to Renaissance fairs and conventions. So for the end of the year video for 2024, I figured I would just do a collective Renaissance fair haul. Let's jump right into it. So I'm going to start off with an honorary mention. The first thing I got was actually from a convention called Mythicon, and I was so excited to go back. Got my tickets for February 2025. It's such a fun fairy fantasy convention, but it has a lot of overlap with Renaissance fairs. And there I actually bought this hood. And so this has become a staple for what I wear to Renaissance fairs, especially as it's colder, and I really like it. So let's see, I got this for about $21, and I unfortunately don't remember the seller. The other honorable mention is this belt. Again, this has become a huge staple.
Belt.
Let me actually take off all the extra stuff. Alright, so this is the belt and how I got it. It can pack a lot, and it fits the vibe. I also had this, which I had bought separately to try to make my own belt, but I just took it off there and added it to my belt as well. So this I just got at a convention, like a Comic-Con. So not a Renaissance fair, but because it is a staple, I wanted to throw it in there. So first fair that I went to this year was the Virginia Renaissance Fair. I got 4 items there, but I went twice. So the first trip I got 2 items. The first one being a hoop skirt that I got for $60. I had been looking for a hoop skirt. I didn't really want to buy anything off Amazon, but I wasn't seeing anything local or in my size. And I also didn't have the opportunity to try anything on until I stumbled across this one at the Renaissance Fair. So it fit, it was beautiful, I scooped it up. When I originally bought it, it was a very distinct shape, and I thought it was intentionally built like that. However, after working with it a little bit, there were just safety pins in there. So once I removed that, it's just a straight circle hoop skirt. I actually found a note, I'll see if I can find a photo of it, but it looks like it might have been handmade too. That is from a shop that I've seen there almost every year. It's just like a secondhand thrift shop. It's a little pricey, but I love secondhand. Trinkets, costumes, and sundry. So if you see my fantasy recap weekend video I did recently, you know that trying to get a circle skirt has been a bit of a challenge for that hoop skirt. I think I've tried to sew 3 times, and I finally got one. It is a 4-panel circle skirt, but it is not the right color, so I've been trying to dye it. Well, I tried to dye it once in time for another event, didn't finish in time. The dye didn't really take, so I'll have to dye it again, but then fingers crossed I'll have a green circle skirt that can fit over that hoop skirt. So I'm constantly on the lookout when I go to fairs now for a large circle skirt with pockets, because we need pockets. Alright, the next thing I got on my first trip there is a pair of silk flow arts fans. So I had always been eyeing these every year, but hadn't been willing to commit. But I got these 2. There's 2 of them for $40. Yeah, it's just a fun little flow art thing. I haven't used them, but I need to. And that shop was the Decorated Dragon. Again, I had been eyeing these for years. I've really gotten into flow arts lately. I've actually gotten into fire spinning finally. Life goal accomplished. So this was a fun thing to add to my collection. One thing, as I'm going to Renaissance fairs more, I've been going for about 15 years, so I've accumulated a lot of stuff, so it's important that I'm not buying a ton of things at fairs. I usually try to buy 1, maybe 2 things, and try to focus on things I really only need or really want. Does that always work? No. So the next thing I got is actually a dress from the Dark Cottage, which if you get targeted ads, you've probably seen ads from them. This dress was on sale. I guess there was some damage to the embroidery, so I got it for $40. 40? Yeah, $40. And honestly, it's a really nice layering piece. It's got pockets. I've ordered a couple other pieces from the Dark Cottage as well, just outside of Renaissance fairs, and one thing I've noticed is that they either tend to be smaller or a little, scanty? It is a very shapeless dress unless you actually put something on it. If I were to wear this as just a dress, it would honestly be a little short in places, and looking at some of the things on their website and some of the things I have purchased, that tends to be a trend, so just keep in mind that that might be something if you order from them. I don't know how often I would buy from them again. I got a really cool jacket I like from them, and I had a credit from a first purchase I made because I got pants with crotchless booty shorts built in, which was such a wild experience. Alright, so this is me figuring out in real time that these pants straight up just have crotchless booty shorts built in. Like, why? I'm so confused. It wasn't advertised at all. I thought it was just full shorts. Like, what is the point of crotchless booty shorts for a pair of pants? I don't understand. I ended up returning them because they were way too small as well. So I also ended up getting this leaf jacket, just with the leftover money. It's pretty cool. Alright, and the last thing I got at the Virginia Renaissance Festival is just a fancy little ring. Ooh. Decorative, it's fun. I've done a couple photo shoots with it. It's just a fun little accessory. I got that for $16 and unfortunately I don't have the business name. Next up, was the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. I went in August. Oh my god, it was so hot. So the first thing I ended up buying was a fan holder that goes on my belt and an upgraded fan. But yes, I've got a fan. It is big. It can actually help keep me cool at Renaissance fairs in the summer, and it's just a staple. It stays on my belt forever. I don't even know if I still have the fan that I used to take with me. Didn't work. I had it with me at Pennsylvania. I was like, I need to replace it. So I got this one for $20 from the Scarlet Rose Millinery. The Scarlet Rose Millinery. And it came with the fan holder. Alright, next from PA Renaissance Fair, I really wanted to invest in a nice chemise. So I got this dark green. It's got a flowy sleeve, long dress. It looks really pretty. Also just been another staple that I've had in my rotation for this season. When you go to the fairy ball and they play I Heart Since Not Tragedies. Ultimately, I do want to be able to sew one of those. I just haven't sat down and really committed to it, and so I just wanted to spend the money and get something that I was going to use and could rely on. So that was $85 from Fiona's Finery. Last thing from the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. These summers have been brutal for Renaissance fairs, so I wanted to get something that I could wear that could hopefully help keep me cool. So I just got this bra top. I believe it's a recycled silk sari. It's pretty. I like it. So this was $38 from Ochesa. I don't know if I love it. I just don't love how it fits on me. But it's really nice and I enjoy it and I'm glad I bought it. Fuck. So that's the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. So going ahead and moving on to Maryland Renaissance Fair. I did great. I bought nothing at the Maryland Renaissance Fair. Yay! I was only able to get in once during the season though. They sold out very quick, as they have been doing pretty consistently. Next I went to a harvest fair and I got my first piece of chainmail. So these are some, I don't know if you can hear anything. So these are some scale mail shoulder pauldrons. They sit here and wrap around. I'll show a picture. I love them. This is an investment I wanted to make. I've been super interested in chainmail. I do want to get started one day making some, but I also need to do more research on the different types of rings. I have super sensitive skin, so I also want to make sure I'm balancing what I'm buying with something that I'll actually be able to use. And every time I start researching that, I get overwhelmed, so I stop. But hopefully one day I'll be able to make my own. See, that was, I think, one of my biggest purchases of the year, but something I have always wanted. That was only $80 actually, only $80. Okay, I can't currently find the business name, but I'll do some research and put it on the screen. We interrupt your video for a quick puppy break. Yeah, hi! There you go. Oh, right in my spot. Thank you. Yeah, where did I leave off? Okay. So the next fair I went to was the North Carolina Renaissance Fair. It was my first time going and I wanted to check it out because I wanted to see the mermaids, which were, of course, wonderful. I got two items there. The first was a pair of these chain elf ears. I had been eyeing these at multiple Renaissance fairs. They looked really cool. I used to wear a lot of ear cuffs, but then COVID happened, and with face masks, it was really hard to actually wear them without fear of losing them. So I think this is going to be a nice way to kind of replace ear cuffs while still looking and feeling fancy and fantasy. So I got these for $50 from Medieval Metal. Alright, and then the last thing I got from North Carolina Renaissance Fairs was a pair of skirt hikes. I believe it was 7 for $15. I ended up paying cash because their card reader was down. So I don't have a receipt and I don't have the business name. But yeah, 2 skirt hikes, 1 in each color, but they both just live on my belt. I also went to a Viking festival for the first time this year. I got 2 items, one of which I already kind of regret. I got these 2 hair twirlies, which I cannot, if I hide my face. 2 hair twirlies, which I cannot figure out how to put in my hair. But I got both of them for $5, and they were handmade by someone down there, and I wish I had his business name. But again, I paid cash, so I'll have to do some research and see if I can find it. They're super cool, and if I could figure out how to put them in my hair, I'd wear them. If you have any advice, please let me know. Alright, and the last thing I got from the Viking Festival is just a clasp for cloaks and stuff. Connects to each other. Honestly, it feels pretty cheap and pretty small. I haven't tried it out. Hopefully it'll work. But that was $12. And the last fair in my circuit was the Yuletide Fair up at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair again. I went on the last day, trying to be good about spending, but I wanted a bell. And I've always wanted a bell, but I didn't want to spend a ton of money. And I keep being like, oh, I could DIY that. When? Will I? No. So I got this with the clasp for $12, and that's a hefty clasp from Earthly Leather Designs. It's my favorite, and I love it. Alright, so that's just about everything that I bought at Renaissance Fairs this year. My goal, of course, is always to spend less money, but it doesn't work out. Because I like the numbers. I totaled everything up, and I spent $538 on things from the Renaissance Fair. I don't know if that's good or bad, and I don't care. Most of what I bought this year was stuff that I have been searching for a while, or stuff that has really integrated itself into my wardrobe. And that is my goal for shopping this year and moving forward, is to focus on filling gaps I have in my clothing and accessories, and really focusing on things that I know I'm going to wear and that I know I'm going to get use out of. Honestly, another big goal for 2025 is to actually go through what I have and start selling or getting rid of pieces that I don't use. For example, I have a pair of leather cuffs that I got at the Maryland Renaissance Fair a couple years ago that they're just uncomfortable every time I wear them. So I know I'm not going to use them, I want to get rid of them, and I want to replace them with something that I am going to use. So things like that. A big part of that means organizing and looking through everything I have, which is a bit of a struggle. I've already got a pegboard that I set up recently that I am going to be adding my props to, so hopefully that'll help with organization as well. But yeah, 2025, focusing more on building a wardrobe that I use more regularly and getting rid of the pieces that just no longer have a space in my life. So one other thing I wanted to mention is my goal for 2025 is to kind of unify my wardrobes. So my specific cosplays will be separate and set in their own things, but I want my everyday wardrobe to have a lot more fantasy inspired pieces and to be able to pull from my everyday wardrobe to make fantasy looks and vice versa. So I'm trying to merge most of that all together into one. So that's why it's super important to spend time looking for functional pieces that I can wear in multiple different ways, you know, make my everyday wardrobe more fantastical and make my fantasy wardrobe less niche. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year, and I hope you have an amazing 2025.